Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chassis Variant series, myself, Critical Rocket, and here we are with the beginning of the next set of clan mechs. We have the Black Lanner. This is the first of the 55 tonners. A couple of things out of the way. If I sound a bit out of it or a bit down or whatever, or more so than usual I guess some would say, it's because I'm feeling a bit rough today, so apologies for that beforehand. It's not that I'm not interested in doing the video, it's just I feel a bit grotty. But yeah, it's been a bit of a rough week, real life, for like kid day and such. So I've been trying to get through that, and yeah, it was a bit of a bitch recording this. This is the Black Lanner B variant, and as you can see, B obviously stands for bad because the double LRM20 version is just that. Unfortunately, it's a bad one. This is the best footage of a bad bunch of footage. I actually had a win. But I did 99 damage with two LRM20s, and that was just because there was just so much AMS in the air that every salvo, maybe a few missiles got through out of 40, It suffers from a few issues. Building this in MechWarrior line is tough because ammunition is definitely a major problem it suffers from. You can only get about 4 ton, and that's if you sacrifice a bit of armor, of ammunition, which isn't a lot, obviously, for 2 launchers. With no backup weapons as well. That's the other problem. The Black Lanner B was excluded, I think, for a good reason by PGI. It's just outside of making a variant of it that just had a horrendous number of missile hardpoints, there wouldn't have been any other reason to take it into the game. So it's not great. It is a bad version of it. Obviously, on tabletop and within the lore, this thing is built around the idea of being a pretty effective fire support mech. Obviously, AMS doesn't work the same way in tabletop. There's rolls involved, how many missiles you shoot down, that kind of thing. But then when you hit with LRMs, you have to roll to see how many missiles actually hit in the first place, because you're not always hitting with all 20 missiles from a launcher. You can have a bad roll and only hit with like a third of those missiles anyway, the rest of them scattering around the target. That was the great thing about LRMs, is that they weren't this kind of god tier weapon that you suffer with MechWarrior Line, because the way MechWarrior Line does missile targeting is very pinpoint, like everything else. If it has a lock, they will all hit the target. It might not hit the same spot, but they're guaranteed that as long as the lock is held, they'll all hit. There's no deviation from the initial launch point and such. So I can understand that it's always been a bit of a balancing issue for MechWarrior Line. So their missiles have always gone through ebbs and flows of being ridiculously powerful to relatively ineffectual, to kind of balance. I think where they are now, they've done a fairly decent job. But obviously a lot of players have become canny to missile boats. So most players, quite rightly, take AMS systems of some form or another, laser or multiple standard AMS, just to trim down the amount of missiles that are flying around in the air sometimes. And yeah, I don't blame them. It renders mechs like this completely ineffectual. Even if this was a mech that PGI wanted to add, I think someone looking at it from a design point would have just gone, yeah, we can't have this thing, there's just too many missiles, too many AMS systems in the game at this point, too many people bringing it won't live, it just won't do anything, people won't like it. And when you're trying to make money, you want to sell people mech variants that are going to be able to be good for customization, allow them to do all those nasty builds like they want to do, things like Mad Cat Mark 2s with its WAC 10, WAC 5 kind of setup and all that stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. I would definitely like to see more reworking to missiles. I would actually like missiles in MechWarrior Line to maybe be a bit more like they are on tabletop. I know people would complain about that. I know immediately, as soon as I said it, people were going like, well, why would I take missiles if I know some of them aren't going to hit? And it's like, because, I don't know, because it would probably lessen the issue. A lot of people think that people would say LRMs, it's this no-skill weapon. I've said this before. Personally, I don't find them to be a no-skill weapon. I find LRMs to be something that is very that relies heavily on your team. Just because you have a weapon that can lock on and launch, loads of missiles over the other side of a hill, you can't see them through the hill. You need other people who are taking hits to lock on for you, basically, and then you're using their data to get the hit. That's pretty good. Jesus, that's a low-flying plane. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. There's also a barbecue going on outside. Oh, it smells so nice. We've got the door open here. It's very, very nice. those daffodils have come up, I didn't even realise that. Anyway, so it's one of those things that you need the team to give you the targeting information. It's not like it just magically comes to you through osmosis, is it? So I never viewed it like that, as that kind of weapon. Sure, on some maps with big open plains and such you can see, but most of the time it doesn't work that way, you know. But yeah, I mean this match is probably the best kind of map for this mech. Big open spaces, not much cover, means you've got plenty of time to lock on, fire your missiles, you know, distance between you and your enemies. Didn't work that way. We ended up with the classic thing. You get the scout pilots who go way too far ahead to scout, and so like this happens in Tor sometimes. We'll be like, someone will go off and they'll be like, no, you're going too far out. Like you won't. It doesn't matter if you see them. We won't be able to help you. And it's like they still go out there. It's like, well, you're gonna die now, and that's what happens. The scout person gets killed. Then you're already a mech down. Then you continue along, and then it turns into a thing where it's like, okay, so now we don't have any scouts. We don't have any way of countering them with their scout mechs, and then you know they roll up on you and kill you. It was one of those kind of. It was just a slow, horrible grind. I tried to kill an awesome at the end, and even that wasn't like it's CT's like right. Missiles just wouldn't go through it, and that's where I got torn apart. But yeah, it's not good. It's not a good variant. No. I was really looking forward to it. These Klein LRMs aren't bad, you know. No minimum range, not a lot of damage up close, but at least I could still fire something. But yeah, whew, terrible. Still, stay away from it. Blackliners I always felt were in a bit of a tough spot anyway. They were a bit like the Rifleman 2C recently. It's a mech that's got competition in the medium category. It really struggles to be competitive with the other clan mechs that are out there. I still think that with the Blackliner you don't see them that commonly, even though they're a relatively new mech for C-bills by comparison to others. You still see a lot of them being played. I don't think they ever really made the mark, you know. Even though the redesign of them is great, they look really good compared to the very squat original artwork for that mech. But yeah, this is that done. Blackliner B, stay away from it. It ain't good. It stands for bad. It really is. So have a good one all. Thanks for watching. Bye.